I have jury duty. I have to watch CSI shows now.
You're a moron.
I have jury duty. I have to watch CSI shows now.
You're the problem.
I have jury duty. I have to watch CSI shows now. Wait, what?
You watch TV to learn the law? That's not how this works.
I have jury duty. I have to watch CSI and educate myself on the law.
I have jury duty. I have to watch CSI.
That's stupid. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
What? Why?
I have jury duty. The CSI TV shows taught me everything I know. The person on trial is going to prison no matter what.
I have jury duty. The CSI TV shows taught me everything I know.
Yeah, that's right. You keep watching that crap.
I have jury duty. The CSI TV shows taught me everything I know.
Ooh, look at you, the TV lawyer.
I have jury duty. The CSI TV shows taught me everything I know.
That's right, making murder and mayhem so easy.
My house got broken into. Someone call CSI.
Call CSI for this?
Yeah, right. Good one. This isn't funny.
That was great. Oh my God, that was great. Well, welcome to the show, episode 22, the CSI effect. Yeah, kind of like this mic effect. It's all kind of weird and crazy. Anyway, we're broadcasting, we're live. YouTube, Rumble, X, getting everything checked out, making sure we're good to go. So we've been keeping up with the world today. All the good stuff, all the stuff moving, all the stuff shaking. Yep. Anyway, let's move on with this. As of today, the academic channel of CJTV, Criminal Justice TV, backed by scholars and researchers, we have 761 downloads in 70 days. 1,000. Who screwed this up? What did you do? Did you proofread this crap? Seriously? Hold on. We're going to edit this just so that one of our superstar editors doesn't look like a... what is it? Is it 4? Okay. It's 14. There you go. 11,214 views. 70 days. 11,214. It's not even a number you put in. Why are you shaking your head? That's not bad. It's not bad. Anyway, everybody knows it's an academic show. Full scholarly, no copy and steal everybody's news, especially with the stuff that's going on in society now with all the operations that everybody's confusing with. We never signed a declaration of war since 1942. Yeah, it's not war, people. It's an operation. Get on with it. Get on with your lives. Stop panicking. Stop watching Lemmy rebroadcast Fox and X shows and all this other stuff. The CSI, you see, Iran, the whole implementation of the media, it affects you the same way as a jury gets affected by the CSI shows. That was pretty good. Where'd you guys get that? That's all AI. I know. That's pretty cool, though. I like the spooky guys. Yep, the core concept, the CSI effect. I don't know. You like the shows. To understand the fictional forensic crime scene television show, you have to understand the investigation. But watching TV shows like NCIS Bones, the Making a Murder, they create unrealistic expectations for jurors. Yes, for jurors. Not for you, the entertainee. Not for you, the one that's paying your diligent bill so diligently every month for your internet service or your whatever TV service you have. Enjoy your shows, mind you, but they're fake, they're crap, they're unrealistic. They're actors that are paid to tell you the vision, the television. So, it's unrealistic. Jurors do not understand forensics from the get-go. They do not understand that the word forensics is preparation for presentation with applied practitioner skills and sciences elevated to aid law enforcement. They just don't get that. It's a delivery system that needs to happen in a real classroom, just like this show. It's not a substitute for a real classroom, but it's something out there for society to hopefully, as Homer Simpson would say, become learned, unputrefy yourself, meaning stagnant, dead in the tracks, not wanting to learn. It isn't just about explaining fancy technology in the CSI world, crime scene investigation and or forensics or investigative world or detective world. It's about fundamentally misunderstanding. Yeah, society misunderstands how evidence actually works because society doesn't have a real concept of how evidence works at a legal basis, at a fundamental basis, at a crime scene basis, at a evidentiary, exculpatory, fruit from the poisonous tree, what type of evidences it is, direct, circumstantial, the many types of evidence. Just no comprehension other than what TV says. The investigation takes one on a wild turn in the TV show, but yet in the real world, the wild turn is the seeking of proof, validity, credibility. That's not argued as fruit from the poisonous tree. That's not argued as exculpatory and or suppressive by the defense. And you got to understand what proof actually looks like. The tech in CSI, the cool stuff you see on TV, the invisible things in the air, or the big screens in the air with the faces, the minutia. For those of you that don't know, CSI, minutia, fingerprints, writer's edge, right, writer's palm, minutia, fingertips, right, things you don't understand, but hopefully, you'll get in a university or a classroom and pick it up one day. You never know. The CSI, there's actually just two effects happening here in society. The CSI effect, when jurors expect forensic evidence in every case, it turns into a distrust of the case. Period. There's not always forensic evidence in every freaking case. Not everything you touch do you leave your minutia, your fingerprints, your palm prints, your writer's edge, the tips of your fingers. Not everything that you touch are you going to leave the evidence there proving that you had it in your hand. Not always, but you have to understand the aspects of the body, meteorological, the sweat pores, the water, the oils, what's coming out, what substances are in the body that are affecting the flow of oil, that are affecting the flow of water excreting, the epithelia that's left behind on the ridges of the land. Yeah, simple stuff like that that society does not comprehend, that the TV show does not deliver. The TV show doesn't even comprehend because of the researchers, the director, and the cast and the stars. It's all about the money. Tell you the vision so you'll pay for the show. The CSI effect for jurors and the corruption of the case is predominant. The tech. When a juror is expecting cutting-edge technology, faces in the air, screens that you can just flip up, and all kinds of cool fancy stuff that you would see on the Space Shuttle Discovery or Space Shuttle Bullwinkle Rocky going to Mars. It does not exist in reality. It doesn't. It doesn't happen in an hour. It doesn't even happen in the time frame that a TV show would circumvent or stage out. It doesn't happen that way. Cutting edge technology, it's available, yes, and used in specific investigations. Society and a jury would expect the cutting edge technology to be used in every investigation. It's not going to be that way. Why? Departments can't afford it. The big people, the government, the big ABC soup agencies with all of the big time tech, they're not there for everyone. They're not coming. The states that are not coming, the dissemination of labor, the manpower, the mutual aid, the partnerships from states, state investigative agency, federal investigative agencies, they're just not there. Why? No manpower. There's not enough tech to disseminate out to every agency for every crime that's going to be indicted and go to a trial for a capital crime, felony crime, period. Capital crime. We're not talking about capital sentencing. We're talking about capital crime, misdemeanors and higher crimes, so to say. The test, the advanced statistical methods. Sometimes it comes down to simple numbers. Sometimes it comes down to simple testimony. Sometimes it comes down to simple expertise, the linguistic value of the expert testifying. Now, as I said before, the term forensics, it's not science. It's preparation for presentation using the skills of the practitioners that are trained in specific fields: science, psychology, sociology, medical, and trained additionally to aid law enforcement in specific cases that involve those specific practitioner disciplines and or details. Society doesn't comprehend that. Why? Because those TV shows do not explain the word forensics to you. Now, I know you're wondering, what does this guy know? I know 2 and 2 is 22. Put it that way. Linguistic value. The TV show specifically, it gives you a novelty bias. Yeah, it does. Novelty bias. Jurors aren't necessarily influenced by the TV show itself, but they're influenced by the effect of what they see. Do you know anybody that believes social media? Do you know anybody that believes everything that's out there on the news, everything that Fox puts out, everything that CNN puts out, everything that the left side puts out, everything that the right side puts out, the libertarian, the conservative, someone that believes it because that's their methodology, that's their discipline for choice? Well, those that watch these TV shows, it's reality. When it's not reality, it doesn't. The CSI effect might as well actually be shown as an actual border than an advance. It's a border wall. It's the television. It's telling you how you need to interpret things. And yes, the comical little commercials from our sponsors of Ignorant Society, I like those. Those were pretty cool. Who made those? Who? You're not. Oh, you did? Yeah, cool. They were cool. I like the big scary dude with the blacked out. No, that was not me. What you made that thinking that was me, the other guy? No, tattoos are different. Thank you. So, the serial effect. Let's move on with this. I know, it's Sunday night. Everybody's got better things to do. The Iranian effect. Yeah, I said it. The Iranian effect. Hope somebody's got a plan, so to say. The serial effect, from fiction to true crime. The podcasts, the shows, the TV shows that you click and find because it's intriguing. It grabs your attention. Here's why it gets really interesting, so to say, in research. The term, the serial effect. Remember, the podcast is a serial series. Kind of like CJTV. It's kind of like a serial killer. Keep coming back for more. The cereal. You keep coming back for more Frosted Flakes. You keep coming back for more Lucky Charms. You keep coming back for more Trigger. You keep coming back for more attention. You keep coming back for more spark in the brain, neurons, neurotransmitters, the excitement, the endorphin, the dopamine. You're learning something. You're seeing something. Something's got you triggered, and now you're sucked in and you're evolved. You're evolved. Yes, you're evolved, but in what direction are you evolved? True forensics or non-true forensics? Non-true CSI. Unfortunately for society, it's in the non-true section. It's not a bad thing. It's the fault of law enforcement. It's the fault of the upper tier. Anything that's disseminated to society comes from the number one position. Sheriff, police chief, all the top dogs with the coconuts and the chickens and the stars and the laser beams. Yeah, that's those people. That is what it is. If you're in law enforcement, you know it's true. It's kind of like the double heart report. Get the report from the top dogs or get the report from the ones that are on the street. They'll conflict each other. Yeah, we covered that in a previous show too. Yep, the investigative journalism of the media, the TV, the format is created in multiple ways, different ways, and it's a biased. Yes, it's a biased. Unlike fictional shows where everything is wrapped up in 30 minutes or 45 minutes, the real world is not going to immerse the watcher. The real world is not going to immerse or suck in the true dedicated person that wants to watch the TV, be entertained, because in real life, it's not entertaining. It's hours upon hours of work, time away from home, time away from family, time away from loved ones, and the education process. You're just not going to go get a job and somebody's going to throw you in a box and say, hey, look at this. You're going to learn this. Here, read a book. Now get out there and conquer the world, Pinky. It's not going to happen that way. Years of training, years of education, learning, as Homer Simpson would say. You've become learned now in a specific discipline. Jurors, along with society, do not comprehend this. Why? Jurors are from society. Just like law enforcement, just like those forensic experts that started out in society that had to train years, methodology, practitionership skills, continued education to help law enforcement in a criminal investigation. The jurors who think their amateur investigation skills are great, they're second guessing the professionals in forensics. Yes, they know better. They know why. They know who. They know the investigation should work in a specific manner just from listening to podcasts and just from listening to the TV from a distance while you're cooking dinner or washing your dishes, because the TV's in the other room, but you don't want to miss an audible minute for the trigger of the dopamine, the endorphins. Society's basic level of comprehension of I'm being educated through entertainment, the television. It affects the jury. It tells the jury the vision. It's very distinct. Reality and fictitiousness are distinct. From the CSI effect to the real world, skepticism. The jury is always skeptic. How many jurors does it take? One. Just one. Just one with a good argumentative bite in that secured room when it comes down to evaluating the evidence that the judge has allowed to be entered as an item of evidence for the jury to consider, be it direct, be it circumstantial sometimes, be it testimonial from experts. Yeah. You watch those TV shows and now you're the god of the jury. Hey, John, did you watch this episode of CSI that mimics this case that we're jury members in? Yeah. Do you guys know sometimes that is illegal in the legislative body of some states? And once the judge finds out that there has been persuasion, yeah, there's a whole new spectrum of identifiable case study on that. Anyway, chats are open. Drop a chat. Give me a 5 and 5. Give me a thumbs up if it's audible. You're either watching this now or you'll watch it later. We're live on YouTube, Rumble, and X, and we're pushing out. We're not live on Facebook with our download channel for all of our research. Not all of it. You know, we get it out as we can. If you like it, download it. If you can use it in your own academic work at the university. Use it at the job. The majority of it's already been peer reviewed, so we gray and non-gray put it out. So just is what it is. The reality check. Not all researchers agree on the CSI effect. Oh my gosh, researchers, scholars, university people at each other's throats that don't agree. No, unfortunately, they don't. That's why it's a university. It's pretty much open. That open level of educational argument. All right. The CSI effects are real. They exist as an originality, something that's defined by researchers. Massive studies all across the planet. Why all across the planet? Crime isn't localized to one country, jurisdiction, region, or city. It's global. Thus, some of you are like, who dropped the bomb on the little kiddos in the school in Iran? Oh, that's that big question going on right now. Got to have the forensic evidence teams to go establish what happened and go across country, go across the globe, go across the big pond and land over there. You think you have non-biased forensic experts out there right now to give you the truth? No, you don't. Thus, the bias of social media. Researchers found that juries, deliberation, so to say, there was some evidence that the CSI effect was there with jurors who expected more forensic evidence than received. As said before by me, not every case is going to have a plethora of in a bow, in a box with a silver star on it evidence. It's not going to happen that way. Think of things in your own life. Let's turn it into a commonality. How many things have happened and you could not explain it, but there's a rational explanation for everything. There's a rational explanation for what one would call circumstance. There's a rational explanation for what one would call act of God. The weather, the tree. Well, you didn't take care of your trees. Now your trees are what? Rotted, sick. Something that a tree specialist would have to go figure out after the fact, after the incident, after the act of God, after the, I don't know, spectacular incident of consequence. Just happened. Jurors expect a lot of consequential evidence. Not going to happen that way, unfortunately. That is why cases are difficult to solve. That is why cases are difficult to communicate to a jury. That is why difficult interpretations are out there. The jurors, the media. The media is the worst influencer of all when it comes to evidence. The media, I don't care what network you watch. It's garbage. It's influential. It has an agenda. It's not down buckled into the true science of practitioner skill to aid in law enforcement. Thus, jurors expect more because of what they watch. Kind of like those commercials that were made here. I got to watch CSI. I've got to learn the law. I've got to learn how to interpret something that the judge, the magistrate, the gatekeeper tells me to interpret. But once some jurors start talking to each other, sometimes that effect diminishes. Why is this? Well, let's be truthful about it. Some jurors are just ignorant. They don't know. Some jurors are not ignorant. Some jurors have a scholarly education and background. Lab, botany, biology, some scientific education. Even engineering. What about marine? Yeah, a marine biologist. Sure. Marine biologists sometimes would be handy in an international drowning case. Yep. For those that are watching that worked the international case with me last semester, 2 semesters ago. Yeah, that would have been cool if they would have had a marine biologist there to the current, the river, the changes, the actual water in the body absorbed, which location, upstream, downstream, saltwater, freshwater, crustacean, the infestation of the microorganisms, biological organisms from saltwater to freshwater in the body as the body was recovered. But guess what? They didn't have one. One of those things. Dissemination of labor. Crime happens everywhere. But when jury members talk, that sometimes, not all the time, there's a lot of research out there. Don't believe me, do your own research, but that CSI effect dissipates. This suggests that the jury themselves, the group, might deliberate for a little bit just to get some correctional, unbiased information. Something that's not media corrupted, so to say. Yeah. And there is research to where jurors have actually requested the presence of the judge to establish the biased versus the non-biased with the CSI effect. What one thinks should be there but is not there. Even defense and prosecution in historical venue of research, case review, and case study have also been requested by the jury for additional information for the evaluation of evidence, being at the forensic level. Yep. And we've got the actual, research. We'll publish it. We're not done with the actual release yet. It'll be done probably tomorrow and fully punched out. But we got some stuff punched out already through this source, Mediafire. Go to Facebook, friend it, Dr. Mike Gurley, CJTV. It's all attributed, and if you use it, please attribute it to the authors and the authors of the assistant research here for this episode, Dylan McDonald, Chloe Hensley, criminal justice superstars. Yep. How do we measure this challenge? I know it's one would think is, oh my God, now that we're hearing this, is it just rampant in society, or bad people being set free, or good people being incarcerated? Yeah, good people are being incarcerated. Try researching and making a phone call to something called the Innocence Project. First year in circulation or function of the Innocence Project. Hundreds of people released from prison. Why? False conviction, false imprisonment, lack of forensic evidence, lack of the evidence. Then after the case appeal, the case reinvestigation, the evidence is now located, truly tested at the forensic level. Now we're finding out that those that were convicted and incarcerated were wrongfully convicted and incarcerated. Sometimes people 15 to 20 years. The Innocence Project. The Innocence Project. Do your own research. Again, the Innocence Project. Researchers, long periods of time, have just committed to studies to mock juror experiences. Yeah, the mimic of the experience, the experiment, the communication. They found that tracked media, all right, tracked media, meaning information that was given to the juror, that the juror used to assess evidence, that the juror used to assess case detail, allowed by the judge, had an influence and was biased. How do you think that really worked out for the one that was being prosecuted? How would you like to be the one that's being prosecuted by a biased jury that's being influenced by the CSI effect of TV, social media, the news? How many times you've watched a news station and the actual information is total garbage or crap? You know it is, but it's interesting, and you know it's going to pull somebody in and track them in because it's social media. The crime, yeah, over time, what happens? You're kind of finding that heavy consumption of the crime-themed, natured source of entertainment. It shapes how people evaluate. It shapes how society processes words that are given to them. It changes how society processes and evaluates the instructions of the judge, the gatekeeper, the magistrate. Yep, it's messy. CJ is messy. Why? Misleading information. Direction. It's kind of like you being given the wrong directions while you're on that fancy trip to your vacation. You're pissed. Wrong place, wrong time. Don't need to be here. Bad place to be. Misinformation. It's messy because we don't want to follow realism. In society, we want to follow the entertainment. But in reality, jurors can't just follow what they choose to follow in the courtroom. It's not their living room anymore. It's not what they want to watch late at night. It's reality. It's a life. Someone's life is on the line. Someone's future. Someone's separation from their constitutional privileges. Yeah, somebody would say, oh, it's constitutional rights. It's a constitutional privilege. It's an amendment. The Bill of Rights, the first 10 from the Constitution as it applies to you while you're being prosecuted, investigated. That's something else that society's broken off at the hilt on, the understanding of that and the separation. I know my rights. Really? That means that you've had interaction with law enforcement and possibly understand the separation of the privileges and the amendments versus the Bill of Rights. So Who educated you? Was it you were charged with a crime? Should we know about it? Are you a bad person or an innocent person? Or you one of those people that fall under the privilege and sanctity of, I was recognized by the Innocence Project, railroaded, falsely convicted, falsely imprisoned? So next time you hear someone say, I know my rights, try asking those questions and watch the temperament change. Oh my gosh, some guy is telling me to put somebody in check. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Put somebody in check. Let's get down to the fun stuff. Let me know if you want to watch those little commercial segments again. I thought they were pretty cool. I liked them. They were pretty cool. Unfortunately, society is that way. Anybody know anybody that was pulled in for jury duty and they started watching all the shows? Anybody know anybody that was pulled in for jury duty and they tried their dadgumdest to get out of it, but they couldn't get out of it? How did it work for them? Let me check. Yep, we're good to go. We're on YouTube, Rumble, X, and we're live as live gets. Yes. Let me see what's happening on Facebook. You guys give me a second because I'm looking. Let me see. Yeah, it's let me see this. Give me a minute. All right, cool. We should be running. I know I got some researchers on here. Do me a favor, check on Facebook. We should be hitting with Rumbly and YouTube. Should be going, should be broadcasting. Anyway, let's get back to business. What jurors actually believe about forensic science? Yes, what jurors actually believe. Possibly you and what you, the viewer, believe about forensic science and the CJ system, psychology, sociology. The gap between TV fantasy and laboratory reality, the public misunderstanding. Here's a scary statistic for you, all right? And this is recent information. 30% of American adults believe there is no forensic evidence that prosecutors should just drop the entire case. Yeah, there's no forensic evidence. Drop it. Get rid of it. There's nothing to prove it. Great. If you want the worst of the worst on the street walking around with you. Not every case has CSI TV show slap you in the nugget head forensic evidence. You have to understand the simplicity of actus rea, mens rea, accessory, compilatory, complication, the MO, the brain, the mens rea. There's not always going to be some sharp knife sticking in the chest of a victim for you to review and make a decision on. Think about this. Almost 1/3 of potential jurors in the United States think circumstantial evidence, eyewitness testimony, or confessions don't count without a lab report. Don't count. Eyewitness. A confession. Circumstantial. Got to have some lab evidence here. A confession. Oh, but now we're worried about, well, what if it's a false confession? What if somebody has been coerced? What if somebody has been threatened by law enforcement? I don't know. Well, maybe there's a reason you should watch the video of the whole confession. Oh, we don't want to watch the video of the whole confession. We just want the bit. Yeah, we want the finalization. We want the hard line. We want the brick. Kind of like the other night with the lone wolf. You don't want the mitigating circumstance. You don't want the exigent material. You want the final line. Confession is not it. It could be a false. Could be coerced. Circumstantial. Maybe shoulda, coulda, woulda, if I could, maybe, probably, he, she, then, there, what? Juries consider these things. The eyewitness. Yes, the eyewitness. The worst piece of evidence in the world. Yeah. But yet, the eyewitness saw what they saw, heard what they heard, but the evidence is questionable. The jury has to have enough education to bypass the CSI effect. Yeah, it's kind of like you and your arguments on social media. You're arguing because you're pissed off and mad with somebody that said something in the thread that you didn't like. And you can't even see their face. They're not real to you. It's a figment of virtual reality, but you're 100% gung-ho into it. Bam! Gotta assassinate that causation for your own psychological mania because you interpreted something some way. Circumstantial, is it not? But yet you react. Yeah, it's a CSI effect in the purest form. Society does it every day on social media. Anybody know anybody that just gets belligerently just like over the edge for something that's in a text? Something they read on social media? Something that's just like, oh my God, why are you losing your mind on something like this? It has no bearing, no validity. But yet they do. The halftime error, the error rate of society, the error rate, the myth riberio, yeah, the tangent, yes, the shift, the change, the tangent formula, it moves because the information that you're getting is different. Now, as a juror, now as society, you have to stop, rotate, and focus on one thing because it's tangent now, it's moving. Now it's difficult for you. If you ask the question to a regular American, how often do they think errors happen in forensic science? What would you get? On average, the errors roughly 50%. 50% of the time, society's going to tell you. Why? There's no validity in the process. There's no credibility in the process. But yet, the one saying that a percentage rate of 50%, and this is all coming from research, okay? McNimmy, 2019, 2021, 2024, McNimmy. Do your own research, all right? When we publish this stuff, it'll all be there. Society makes these assumptions based on what's there and what's not there. So now, again, you have that average stage process for the CSI effect. No knowledge of what the evidence ratio should be for the evidence to be considered validity, credibility, have reliability, have set precedents. So in bottom line factor here with what we're saying in the past 37 minutes is society's corrupted by the CSI effect. It's incredible, isn't it? Pretty incredibly pessimistic of society. 50% of the time, the forensic evidence is flawed. But yet the one saying 50% of the time, and we're not talking about one included in the mass population of the 50% of the amount of people that were questioned in the case study or research. But yet, even if it's one juror can sway the entire jury of 12 people. People don't like to think of that. People don't like to accept that. Sometimes it's just a bad gambit for them. Oh my God, somebody is going against me, and the one going against me is a jury member that has no comprehensive skill of what evidence is, let alone what the definition of forensics is. The jury member, I expect the evidence to be flawless. That CSI effect. Flawless, characterless, shiny, like a hammer in the forehead, an awakening. But they also assume, the human error rampart too. Yeah, it's a rampart. Anybody ever hear the Rampart case? Yes, Rampart Division. Yeah, multiple flaws. Los Angeles. Rampart. Good God, that's an old case. I'm surprised I just said it. But it has fundamental foundation here. The recognition of error makes the jury fundamentally vulnerable. Yes, and easy manipulated by the defense attorneys who emphasize potential errors in specific cases, specific case areas. So put yourself in the shoe of the CSI affectee. Put yourself in the shoe of victimization with everything I've talked about here. Like I said, in past episodes, we could go all day. What about DNA? The gold standard. Yeah, deserved or not deserved. DNA evidence has a special status in the public's imagination. Evidence has a special status in research as well. It's not just the public. It's just that a verdict backing piece of material. Why we decided what we decided. And yeah, the backing of the evidence is critical. Research, I know, academic. Research has found it was a rational response to strong evidence. Yeah, rational response. If it looks good, if it sounds good, if 2 and 2 are 22 and 2 plus 2 are 4, and it looks good and sounds good, and it's evidentiary and it has that big alphabetic series of DNA, how can one refute? a lot of ways to refute. The means, the manner, the behavior, the mechanics, accessory, during, after, culpatory, all kind of things that can be argued, but society's not hearing that in the fantastic CSI world and the fantastic CSI television world of tell you your vision and effect. When DNA is genuinely linked, assigned to a suspect of a crime, jurors are more convicted to say, hey, I'm convicted to say yes. Yes, the juror is convicted to say yes. Guilty. Convicted. A juror can become convicted, yes, to an action. Convinced, now convicted to the action. Yeah. Imagine yourself in the shoes, even though the evidence was there, but you did not commit the crime. That's like saying there was a dead body and you walked by and sneezed and trace evidence was gathered with a little bit of epithelial snot and some skin cell. But you were arrested last year for a crime and it was a felony, but you were exonerated and blood was taken because it was something that was traffic related in a death, but you were exonerated. Now, guess what? That evidence of you was on the body, but you're the one that walked by and sneezed. Oh my God, it's a dead body. But I know it's crazy, isn't it? Crazy example. But you didn't report it. You left. Now we've got your DNA on the body. You didn't report it. You left. Now guess who's coming and knocking on your door? Jury wants to know why you left. Yep. Is it relevant or is it applicable? Is it circumstantial? What does it prove? Where's the acquitting evidence for you now? Got to go into the details, don't you? Got to bypass the DNA. Got to bypass everything that is rudimentary deduction. Right, Watson? Yep. As Sherlock asked to Watson. The cultivation, how the TV builds reality. Yeah, it's a till. It's an adherent till, kind of like a tiller, cultivating you, cultivating your brain, the garden. It's just mixing everything up in your coconut, your head. Yep. The negotiator of what shall I keep and what shall I not keep. The applied cultivation. You have to choose what you believe, what theory's real. But then again, it requires an education. As said before, this is not a replacement for a classroom. This is not a replacement for a university, a college. This is not a replacement for going and talking to a forensic practitioner themselves. How about a real detective? How about a real law enforcement officer? I'm not talking about your brother or cousin that just graduated the academy, your friends or nephews that are in school. No, somebody that's been doing it for a while. Somebody can actually give you something relative to you being a juror one day. Yep. Researchers also looked at the death penalty. Oh my gosh, the capital crime, the felony, the capital punishment. Perceptions, and found that people who watched more crime television had widely incarceration beliefs. Wide incarceration beliefs about how they felt about the death penalty. Incarceration beliefs about how they felt about the death penalty. That's the exact verbiage. Incarceration, the death penalty. But yet, nobody argued anything in that research about the actual evidence. It's unfortunate. Yep. And when we release the actual information, you'll be able to see this for yourself. It's kind of scary. Imagine yourself in the predicament where people and jurors are using the CSI effect to affect your future. Visual decisions and aids. We'll kind of hit this because this is a scary topic. I've actually seen this in real life. Visual aids, PowerPoints, posters, photographs. Pass around the knife in a plastic baggie. Let the jury hold it, feel it. Feel the weapon of mayhem and death. Don't touch the edge, people. See where the plastic's on it? It's sharp. It'll cut you. Yes. The fixation of the misunderstood object. Jurors fixate on something. Good news, bad news. They're trusting the intervention, the prosecutor, the intervention, the defense, the intervention for the suspect, that special person of interest. They're trusting the verbal corrected biases as the arguments, prosecution and defense happen. That's what the jury's doing. Properly assigned visual aids, diagrams, charts, exemplars, explanations, aid to the error rate of the jury's interpretation. An example would be if you go to this and download the PowerPoint of this show, which is in PDF format, and use it and present it to somebody and say, hey, I'm going to attribute it to these guys. Would you present it correctly or illfully? Why? Do you have forensics background? Do you have a specialist background, a practitioner background in anything that is being talked about in the PDF of the PowerPoint that is in Facebook at our site and ready for MediaFire download for you to use and become, as Homer Simpson would say, educated, learned now in the CSI effect. I didn't say forensic evidence. I said CSI effect. Researchers found that, let me read this real quick. Visual aids, charts, diagrams clearly explained the case in biased manner. Why? The defense is trying to present something to preserve the sanctity and the innocence of the client. Prosecutors trying to present something that's going to sway the jury into what? Conviction, based on the information, the chart, how the evidence relates to the case. It's suggestive. It's kind of like words. Think of a simple word that has multiple meanings. Are you hungry or famished? Are you starving? Or could you just eat? Man, famished, starving, hungry. Are you really starving? We've all heard, eat your dinner. There are thousands of little Chinese kids starving. We've all heard the cliche joke. Are you famished? Are you starving? Or are you just hungry? Suggestion, the words, the images, kind of like this show. Would you rather go watch Iran, or would you rather be educated in something? But then again, there's always the court investing its time. If courts invest in better educative tools, educational tools to jurors, we can counteract the years of misinformation of television. But here's the problem with that. The courts are not doing that. The courts are not going to do that. Why? It's not the court's job. It's not the court's job. It's not the court's job to go against the defending attorney. The defense attorney has a job. It's not the court's job to prove. It's the prosecutor's job. It's not the judge's job to educate the jury. It's the judge's job to explain at exemplar what the jury can and cannot consider, what the jury can and cannot review to come to a final decision. But the long-term education is not up to the court. Who's it up to? Society. Yeah. How many times have you seen the Civilian Police Academy? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Everybody loves that crap. But nobody's putting out crime scene night for agencies. Come speak with the detectives. Come speak with the crime scene people. Come speak with the crime scene techs. Ask questions. Become learned. Come all ye Homer Simpsons. Become smart. But society knows it doesn't actually know the real defining means of forensics, and society chooses, well, I'll just stay where I'm at and I'll just keep watching these shows because they're entertaining and they could be partially real. It's kind of like that CSI. I watched one a long time ago. CSI Las Vegas. Poured plastic into a body, let it dry, and came out with the shape of the knife. Yes. Do your own research. You can find this segment on YouTube. Yes. It's crazy. And it wasn't even like, gel lift or plastic. It was something like a dental stone or a casting agent. Some kind of crap. I guess the show producer said, let's do this. On that note, how do TV shows portray forensic science? The entertainers versus the realism of it. It's going to cover this last section so that we can pound this home. Stop watching CSI shows. You're getting false information. You're being taught. You're being told the vision. On TV, DNA solves everything. Everything. DNA, everything. Got the DNA on that cigarette they left at the crime scene. Yeah, he was spying on that girl through the window. Not always are you going to get DNA on that cigarette. You're not. How long has that cigarette been there? What elements has it been subject to? things that aid in destroying the evidence momentarily, by the minute, by the second, by the hour. Stuff that's not released, the reality. Evidence solves everything and comes back in hours. Hours. It's going to take about 4 hours, Bob, and we'll have our suspect. Great, you've got evidence from the cigarette butt, but nobody's entered into CODIS. There's no evidentiary value in CODIS for you to compare the DNA to. Whoop! Oh crap! The TV lied to you. Yeah, it was Cletus over there in the trailer park in the corner, up on the third story of the hill by the chicken farm, tied to the pig on the tree. No, nothing's in CODIS. It's kind of like fingerprint minutia. Great, we found fingerprints. We have no match. That means there was no reason for law enforcement intervention for somebody to ever be printed, and they're not entered into AFIS. Just because you were born in a hospital doesn't mean these were kept and entered into AFIS. A society once again. Driver's license photos. Not everybody has access to the system like the CSIs do in TV land. Yep, in the real life, DNA testing is backlogged. And it's expensive. It's not cheap. Not every agency has that fantastic crime lab. Yeah, we're going to send it to the FBI. Well, unless you're high profile or you're a reporter's family member, high profile, you're not going to get any attention. You're going to go in the list. You're going to take a number, kind of like going to the whatever favorite place you go to, where you got to take a number out of the machine and they'll call your number before you get service. Yeah, that's you in your case. You're a number now. It's ambiguous, I know, but it's reality. You're not inclusive to the special people to be put to the front of the list, front of the number giver outer machine. Yep. Put too much faith in NCIS and CSI and all those Criminal Mind shows. I never saw a jet. Never saw a cool private jet, like G5 or G3 on any runway. We always got cars. You got to go here. Yep. You and the boys and the task force are going here. 6 hours away. Enjoy it. I know you had 2 hours of sleep. Where you're going to be driving. Nope. Take your own cars. Yep. So you're driving 6 hours. Yep. It's good to go. Crime solved in 45 minutes, man. Good grief. Think of the technology that I missed out on 30 plus years. It doesn't exist, people. Never has existed. I've never seen it. Throw it up in there. Shut the. Yeah, look at this picture. It's on the. I'm surrounded with screens, and I still, to this day, do not have one of those. Touch it and throw it up in the dadgum air. No. Mm-mm. Nor have I ever seen one either. I've seen like glass screens, the polymer screens or, the plastic ones that can feed it through microfiber around, but I've never seen crap like they have on the TV, the inflation of expectation of what is reality and what is not. Jurors believe this. They believe that inflation of expectation, just like DNA, just like crime scene lab results. Are there any lab results here to back up the testimony? No, it's a lie. Well, that's like telling all of you in society, if you say you saw something, you saw your dog get hit by a car, and it was a purple Fiat with a tag number, the last 279. Do you have any forensic evidence of this? Do you have any paint transfer from the car to the dog, purple paint? Do you have any CCTV? Do you have any witnesses? Do you have any specific oil or grease compounds from underneath the carriage of the car and the axle transferred to the dog hair that proves it was something that was derivative to the manufacturer's make and model of the car, manufacturer's intent? Well, you're lying. Congratulations, society. We got everything that you say is now fictitious. It's a lie. It has no evidentiary bearing. That means everything that comes out of your mouth is a lie, according to the CSI effect, according to the jurors that must be entertained with the fact of it. Now, I know some of you are thinking, oh, this is going overboard. And no, it's not. Spent 30 plus years. I've seen juries influenced by minimal stupidity. Minimal. And I've seen good defense attorneys and horrible DAs and ADAs. Horrible. on both sides. It's kind of like the old myth of the public defender. Yeah. Yep. You have the right to the worst attorney in the history of things from hell, the devil and attorneys, and this is your public defender. Still going to get paid, regardless whether you're convicted or not, regardless whether you become a innocence project statistic or not. That defense attorney's still going to get paid. It's the enhancement button. It's kind of like the enhancement of digital forensics. Let's cover digital forensics, the IT world, real quick, and make everybody's bubble just gleam with happiness. Since everybody's into the IT, the virtual you, the virtual reality, your cell phone, your idiot box. Even you here right now thinking, I'm going to go away from this guy and go watch something entertaining because this guy's reminding me too much of what reality is and how much I get sucked into the television. Tell you your vision. Shows like CSI, they invest in technology. Yes. It's developed for technology because it's technology-based. The sciences, the disciplines, the practitioners. It's a exonerated exchange that goes above and beyond reality. It's kind of like Star Trek. We're going to go to the crime scene. We're just going to transport from A to B in a matter of seconds. Yes. But in reality, it's crap. Stop watching these shows. It's kind of like forensic odontology, bite marks, multiple systematic reviews. Do you really think a dentist can tell you this? Do you think somebody that just graduated med school can match the bite marks of a serial rapist to one person? No. I can barely freaking perform a root canal correctly. That's years, that's decades of education, training, case study, case work, testimony. Not every time a forensic investigator or forensic specialist testifies is it going to be considered to be entered as testimonial evidence that the jury can take on opinion that the judge allows. Sometimes this testimony that's not treated that way gets criticized by the media, but it's the only thing available at the time. And the one who's the true idiot, the defense attorney who's defending someone who is truly guilty, can argue it adequately. And the guilty person gets convicted and sent to prison. Now, one would say, I can't believe that guy just said that. Well, guess what? That means unfair, equal, and adequate representation because the prosecutor knows more than the defense attorney. And the prosecutor selected a person that could testify and convince the judge to allow the jury to hear this information and consider it. Now the defense attorney is babbled against the brick wall because the defense attorney doesn't even understand the term odontology or forensic odontology or bite marks or can argue it, let alone do their own research. That's why attorneys pay thousands of dollars for Justica to type in this magic series of words separated by commas and semicolons for the documentation and the case review, the reliability, validity. You think attorneys really sit there and research that crap? No, they don't. Attorneys have their own form of AI, their own CAD, their own pull-up system for specific words and terminology. Attorneys are not educated in that at all, nor are prosecutors, nor are defense attorneys. It is case experience per new case that happens. Case relevant set precedent and reliability of past case to be reviewed and argued in the courtroom in the present moment about evidence. Just is what it is. Now, I know some of you are thinking, man, this guy's giving it to us like really quick. It's like drinking from a fire hose. As I said, there's a lot of stuff that's being given here right now, but that's not a substitute for a classroom. Not by far. Not by far. Well, it's Sunday night. We've been here for an hour. Been here for an hour. Look at that. And we've barely scraped the surface because we could talk about the enhancement buttons of the interpretation of evidence, the technology gaps, the profiling and the behavior analysis of those that interpret evidence incorrectly, meaning jury members. We could... things that go beyond the courtroom, the media, how the media shapes careers. Yes, the media shapes careers. Anybody know a crappy broadcaster on Fox or CNN that is always giving the public what the public wants to hear versus credibility and validity? What about the education paradox? Now that you've heard this, are you going to go educate yourself some more? Are you going to send an email right here to me or to one of my researchers and say, hey, here's a topic. Can you help educate society on this specific topic? That's all up to you. We could go all day long. True crime podcasts. Oh, good God. I hate those. I hate those so much. The majority of them are crap. If you hate true crime podcasts, put a thumbs up. People giving interpretations and opinion that are not law enforcement certified, barely have an education, and got their education from listening to other true crime podcasts. It's a guess. It's an inflection. It's a speculation. But all you need is that one magic word to sway society, the psychology of the decision maker, the juror, the cognitive bias and the memory factors. I remember when John's Superstar podcast of Crime Scene Review said this. Now I'm on a jury and I'm going to go watch all of his episodes because I think the case is similar to that one. Yep. Called a biased, torn, shifted juror. Yeah, what they see, what they hear. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the show. We try to keep them quick. We try to keep them punchy, and we try to keep them fast. If you got any special topics, send it. Dr. Mike Lee G, gmail.com. Send it one of my researchers, Dylan McDonald, Chloe Hensley. They're right there on the screen. But it is Sunday night. Started to get cold again. And spring's right around the corner. So, to end this and prove a point, let's watch some commercials.
I have jury duty. I have jury duty. I have to watch CSI shows now.
You're a moron.
I have jury duty. I have to watch CSI shows now.
You're the problem.